Before we start any session at Royal Roads University, we want to acknowledge that Royal Roads University is located in the traditional lands of the Esquimalt and the Songhees ancestors and families, and we're grateful to have this opportunity to be sharing this land with them. This land has been a fabric of the life of the Indigenous community for long before Hehali Castle was built, and there is so much tradition in bed. So we are grateful to share this land with them, and that we have the opportunity to come together in this space for a learning opportunity for everyone. So I also want you to, if you feel comfortable acknowledging the land where you are located today, please do on the chat box. So today we're going to be talking about the Graduate Certificate in Strategic Enrolment Management. My name is Andrea Torres. I'm the Student Recruitment Manager, and I'm going to be co-hosting this session with two faculty. So maybe, Tamara, you would like to introduce yourself. I will pass over to you. And then after that, if Dr. Clayton would like to introduce yourself, please do. So over to you, Tamara.
Thank you, Andrea. Welcome, everyone, and thank you so very much for taking the time to join us. We know that there are a lot of options out there, so we truly appreciate your interest, not only in the Graduate Certificate in Strategic Enrollment Management, but in Royal Roads University as a whole. My name is Tamara Leary, and I am the program head for the Masters of Arts in Higher Education Administration and Leadership, which this certificate is housed under. And I'm also serving as the school director for the School of Education and Technology. Thrilled to be here and looking forward to the conversation. Over to you, Clayton.
All right, well, thanks everybody. It's great to be here. I'm sitting here in Southern Ontario, and of all things, the internet decided not to work for me today. So first time in a long time. Anyhow, no snow on the ground. We're good. We're good. Again, Clayton Smith. I am a professor in two different institutions today. The University of Windsor is my home, but my other home is way out on the West Coast with you, where we're working on bringing up this new graduate certificate we're going to tell you about in just a minute. I am many things, held many hats, but enrollment management is my game. So I look forward to having this chat with you.
Thank you, Tamara and Clayton. And also I see a lot of people join us from all over across Canada, Ontario, BC, Alberta. Welcome everyone. I see also we have someone join us from Northern California, so welcome as well. So thank you everyone for sharing all this information on the chat box. This is just a small example of how we want to create a community at Royal Roads, how we want to learn about who you are and why you are here joining us today. I also want to introduce my colleague, Lisa Murray. You cannot see her, but she's helping us in the chat box. She's one of our enrollment advisors, and she's going to be posting links and additional information for all of you when you post some of your questions in the chat box. Lisa is a great resource after this webinar if you have questions about your application, next steps, and on it and other details. So the agenda for today, welcome and introduction. So now we know who you are and you have an idea why we are also here hosting this session. After that, I'm going to talk really briefly about Royal Roads University, and then Tamara and Clayton are going to provide a program overview. And at the end, I'm going to speak about the application and the admissions for this program. And if you have any questions, please feel free to post those questions in the chat box. I'm going to keep monitoring the chat, and I will be answering those questions as we go along through this webinar. So first, at Royal Roads, we value many things. And one of the first things that we value is first name first. So we know why our students are coming to this program. We're always very curious about who you are, why you're applying to this program, but also what are you going to be bringing into the program. We want to create a community from day one, and that part of that community is knowing each other and how we can support each other. That takes me to our real world classroom. So you will find at Royal Roads, there's going to be a lot of opportunities to share your ideas, to create projects, to bring what you have learned in your during your work experience, during your different jobs into what we do in the classroom. You will find some of the challenges that you are having in your workplace can become part of your assignments, and the learning, it can be applied immediately back into your workplace. Learn Together Forever speaks more about that learning community that I was talking that we want to create at Royal Roads. So for most of the program, you are going to be part of a cohort or a group of people that are coming together to learn together. That community starts the first day of class, and it will moving forward through the program, but also after you graduate, you are going to be part of that network of students that are doing the graduate certificate. And life is also an education that speaks more about our flexible admissions policy. So at Royal Roads, we understand that everybody has a different career path. Some of us have done college, maybe undergrad programs, and then we start working. However, some people, it's not linear as that it has been for some of us. But for us at Royal Roads, we understand how important all that learning and that experience, it will help everybody to navigate the classroom and to learn from each other in the classroom experience. So at the end of this webinar, I'm going to talk a little more how the flexible admissions looks like. But I just want to let you know, I was a student at Royal Roads, and part of my classmates, I would say maybe 30 to 40% of my classmates were coming through that flexible admissions. And I have to say the people that challenged me the most through my student experience was those people that were coming through flexible admissions. The next slide is about the power of place. I know for the last year, most of us have been working from home, and maybe we don't get the opportunity to work in a face-to-face environment with the people that we normally do. For Royal Roads, it's very important to create that power of place. Sometimes it can be on our campus, or sometimes that power of place is created in an online learning environment. So I want to share a few pictures with you about some of the places on campus. So we have the Japanese Garden, the Squamble Lagoon, and the Halley Castle. But I also want to highlight that Royal Roads has been teaching online for the last 25 years. And that experience has helped us to navigate the last year that it has created a lot of uncertainty, but we have been able to successfully create that online environment where everybody can share and learn and grow together. So now I wanted to pass to Tamara and Clayton to talk about more the program structure.
Great, thank you very much. So the program is the Graduate Certificate in Strategic Enrollment Management, and I've had the honor of working with Dr. Smith in developing this one-of-a-kind and first of its kind in Canada. We developed the program in response to what we certainly saw as a need across Canada, folks like yourselves working interested in strategic enrollment management in the higher education sector specifically. So the program was designed to offer a credential, an academic graduate level credential to people that are current or aspiring leaders, administrators, and professionals within the STEM arena, if you will. And as you know, that includes a great number of people. Next slide. So the learning outcomes together, Dr. Smith and I talked about what do our graduates need, folks coming into this program, what would be tangible takeaways, how would they be able to benefit not only after the graduate certificate, but while they're taking the graduate certificate, what sorts of skills, knowledge would they be able to apply? So you can see the learning outcomes as they are listed there. And again, there is some fluidity in this. We're always at Royal Roads trying to be nimble enough to adjust, accommodate trends, issues as they emerge in the sector. A lot of the content offered through the grad cert is focused on helping people better understand exactly what's meant by strategic enrollment management. And how does it actually apply specifically to North American institutions? There's also a applicability factor to the content. As you're gaining that expertise in theory, in knowledge, there's opportunity via assignments to apply that, to demonstrate what it is you're learning and how you can effectively put it into action. There's also, shared learning, shared knowledge. Everybody is coming with experience in higher education and strategic enrollment management. So being able to create forums where all of you can share your experiences, learn from one another's mistakes, and as well as the successes. Clayton, is there anything else that you might like to add there?
I'll try. And then everyone, my internet's kind of going in and out. So if I freeze on you, tomorrow I'll just take over.
No problem.
I think what we are really trying to do, in addition to these specific learning outcomes, is answer 3 questions, just 3. And the first one is, why SEM? I think it's really important that enrollment leaders be able to tell their leadership and everybody else on campus is why would we even do this thing? Okay. The second thing is, what is SEM? I want to make sure that the people in the program have a really clear idea as to what SEM is. And lastly, how to do it. So we'll be focusing on each of those 3 questions as we go through the program. Back to you, Tamara.
Thank you. Next slide, please. So this online learning visual that you have in front of you is not unique to this graduate certificate. This is something that is embedded across all of the university's programs. So just to give you a bit more information on what you might be able to expect, all of the courses that make up this graduate certificate are delivered online. Each course is a 9-week course, and they flow fairly back to back. I think you have about 5-6 days in between the courses, all designed again to keep the momentum up, and so that you're complete, you're finished the program in a relatively short period of time. The online courses, in terms of what to expect, you usually have assigned readings. There will be a frequent opportunity to contribute your learning via discussion posts, team assignments. Every course has at least 1 or 2 team assignments, team activities. Again, that's specifically designed to help students develop their team working skills, their leadership skills, understanding who they are as a team player as well. I mentioned that it's very important to us at Royal Roads that our students are able to apply what they're learning as they're learning it. And I can honestly say that that is probably the most immediate and the most common feedback I get from students, particularly new students, that they anticipated it, but it usually exceeds their expectations in terms of what they're actually able to apply. And that's because the content is current, the content is informed by practitioner experts like Dr. Smith. All of that goes into that content, into that selection of readings. All of our faculty members, one of the things that I'm quite proud of in terms of being a member of the university's faculty community, here at Royal Roads, the folks that you're working with, the folks that you meet as your faculty, have a great deal of work experience. So in addition to having the credential, the knowledge of the literature and the research, they too have worked in the field. So you learn a lot from those shared war stories, if you will, those lived experiences. And that too is embedded and interwoven in the content. Next slide, please. So here are the 3 courses that make up the grad cert. HEAL 550 specifically looks at the systems thinking framework and strategic planning in higher education. It was important for us to have this as the first course in the graduate certificate to help lay the foundation for everyone in terms of thinking systemically. When you go not only about change, but in terms of understanding your operations, and part of strategic enrollment management is that it is so holistic when it's done well and when it's done effectively, and systems thinking is a large part of that. So this course is designed to give you that lens, to get you comfortable in that framework, and then to be able to take that into the next courses. Clayton, would you like to speak to 580 and 585?
Sure. 580 is really designed to give the functional parts. When I said there's like 3 questions we like to address here, That course is going to start off with the why, make the case for enrollment management, and then it also is going to answer the what. So we're going to talk about things like recruitment, admissions, and choice, and retention, and all of the different slices and dices, and technology and data. It's an awful lot, but it's all there in the right components to give you a fundamentals, if you will, of SEM by the end of the course. The second course is called Strategic Enrollment Planning, and it is totally focused on just that. You will develop a SEM framework working with colleagues, and so that you'll have a takeaway from the course, and I would argue the certificate, something you can actually go back to campus and begin to start doing. But as you know, as much about enrollment management as many of us do, and that is enrollment management is not something you can do alone. If done well, it's collaborative, it's cooperative, it links, integrates, and extends the things that you do on campus. And so this is designed to empower you to become that collaborator. And the project here is a tool for doing that. Okay.
Thank you. Next slide, please. This is the program schedule, and this is available on our website. So we just thought we'd offer it here to give you a snapshot of what you would be committing to in terms of your timeline. So overall, it's about 6 months in length. As I mentioned, it's completely online, and it is comprised of 3 courses. Next slide. As I mentioned earlier, this is one graduate certificate that is housed under the umbrella, if you will, of the Masters of Arts in Higher Education Administration and Leadership. And because of that, when you take the graduate certificate in Strategic Enrollment Management, and the first course is HEAL 550, you will be taking that course with other students who are enrolled in the Master's, the Graduate Diploma, and possibly the Grad Cert in Systems Leadership, given that 550 is an integral part of all of those programs. I did see a very quick chat message about if I've already, because they've either currently or have completed HEAL 550, perhaps an alum or current student, do you have to retake that 550? And the answer is no, you would not at this point, because the course is the same. So that would be transferred in. You'd have that credit towards the graduate certificate. If you would like any information on any of these other grad certs or the master's itself, which is a 2-year program, by all means, feel free to get in touch with us.
There was, maybe before I go into the how to apply, there was a question about, is this program specific to the education sector? And I know Clayton wrote some information in the chat box, but maybe if you would like to expand on the answer for that question.
Sure. Strategic Enrollment Management, as we will talk about it in this program, is pretty much focused on higher education. And in particular, it's focused on higher education in Canada, but not exclusively. As you may know, I am a dual citizen, American and a Canadian, and spent the first half of my career, actually a little more than half, in the US. And I currently serve as the director of the ACRO Strategic Enrollment Management Conference as an example. And so I try to make sure that the stuff that we present is relevant for people in Canada in particular, but also for people from other places. What we're seeing is that people across the world are starting to take hold to this whole notion of strategic enrollment management. And so I think we can lead in this area with the certificate. And so when Tamara and I developed it, we wanted to make sure that it had a bit of a North American flavor and potentially an international one as well. So that's how it's focused. The second related question is that relevant to anything else? And I would argue it's extremely relevant to any area of education, elementary, secondary, private, public, parochial, any of those kinds of combinations it might work very well with. In fact, you see SEM being played out, in particular in independent private schools. They could be language schools, they could be variety schools. But the gist of this question is, can it go to another sector? Could it go into business or nonprofits or healthcare? And I would argue the same principles that apply here will also apply there. It's just that our discussions will be very education focused, but it's not out of the question, for instance, that someone, say from the healthcare industry, might take this certificate and then their project would be applying it to their sector. And I would be fine with that.
I received another question privately, and is there going to be an opportunity for students to work in their strategic enrollment plan for their organization during this program?
Sure, let me take that question. So actually, when we were originally designing the program, we were thinking that the project in the second course, or the third course, as it turns out here, would be a SEM plan. But you know, the more we thought about that, the more we realized, particularly here in Canada, that the notion of developing a SEM framework, a SEM ethos, a SEM way of operating in an institution needs to come first. And so, but could you take the elements of what we're talking about and work with your SEM planning committee on campus? Absolutely. I think we can be okay with that. But it's the major project in that final course is to create an actionable piece that you can then go back to campus and help play out.
I think to add to what Clayton is saying, SEM is so much, and so, you know, it wouldn't be fair to expect to come out with a one-size-fits-all SEM plan or recipe for. But to Clayton's point, you could certainly have a substantial piece of something you could take forward, build on, work from, that foundation, that framework, that greater understanding. I think, and I know myself, the SEM work that I've been able to do as a consultant, it always amazes me how the term is used and used very differently across Canada and depending on institutions. And I think based on my experience, one of the common misunderstandings is that it's just this one small piece, that it's this one, you know, you can check SEM's done. And in actual fact, no. I mean, it's a very holistic process. It evolves. There has to be that right scaffolding and understanding that Clayton has spoken of. But, you know, like everything, it's about having sound knowledge of where to go to get the information, of who the key stakeholders are, of how you structure and communicate and you adapt and you focus, and what it looks like as you start to near that finish line and then create a new finish line. So it's constantly evolving. So I think it's important that to add to what Clayton said, you know, walking out of this, it's not about check, we've now got a solid foolproof SEM plan. You have a significant component of one, and depending on how you build it, depending on what you do with it, you've got that enhanced tool set and knowledge base, not to mention network of colleagues that you will inevitably gain, learn from, and friendships formed.
Tamara, let me just add very quickly to that, and that is that I've seen institutions attempt SEM multiple times. And in some cases they fail. And in some cases it didn't play out quite the way they thought. And so one of the things that we like to suggest is that you become scholars of your own institution. And that is that you start with the data. It's kind of like we're in this pandemic and we hear people say, follow the science, follow the science. Well, follow the data in enrollment management is really important. But quite frequently, SEM plans start before people understand the data. And so what we will try to do is work you through a stepwise process for going from looking at the data to building that into stories, to issues, to goals, and then eventually strategic planning kind of tools. So I think doing it that way will help you greatly, rather than let's just jump in and do a SEM plan. I remember when I went to one institution, the enrollment manager said that when I arrived there on Monday, the senior person said that by Friday I wanted to have a SEM plan. Well, and that was very normal. That's how people thought, but it isn't how it works. And so one of the reasons that we wanted to create this certificate was to give you the knowledge and give you the skill set so that you can help the leaders on your campus, as well as the managers and the people up and down the institution, to really know where to start and how to proceed so that you can create a sustainable SEM on your campus.
Thank you. I have a follow-up question about what you were saying, Tamara, that when you leave this program, you also live with a network. Can you maybe expand a little more? Who are the people that are currently in our MA and in the other GCs and GDs?
Absolutely. When you said that, the Sesame Street song of "Who Are the People in Your Neighborhood" came through my head. You will inevitably form friendships that will last long beyond the program, whether you stay with the graduate certificate or you opt to go into one of the other programs, the master's or the diploma. We see the student population, if you will, that makes up the higher education admin and leadership suite of programs are current and aspiring leaders and administrators, practitioners, professionals that have experience working in the higher education sector. And because of that, they're able to hit the ground running, if you will, with taking the tools and the knowledge and being able to readily apply it, because they have an understanding of how a college works, how a university works, how a higher education affiliate works and interacts together. So your network will include not just folks from the registrar's office like you might be, or not just folks from student affairs like you might be, but you will have folks from all of those academic, administrative type support areas. And that only serves to offer additional perspective, understanding of what your colleagues at your own institution are doing. I've had a lot of students say, it's only by having worked with students, my colleague or my peers that work in marketing or work in recruitment or the registrar's office, that I've actually gained an understanding of how what I do over here in residence life is impacted by what's happening in finance or marketing. And so they take that friendship and that meaningful shared experiences and knowledge, and they're then intentionally seeking out those relationships and network within their own institution with colleagues that perhaps they hadn't found reason to connect with before, but seeing and learning from the perspectives of an issue you're talking about in one of the classes from a different perspective just inspires that. So it's very holistic, I think, is probably the best word I could use to describe the network that you will be exposed to and take with you as you go forward.
Tamara, can I jump in a second?
Yes.
One of the things that we've come to learn about SEM is how important it is within the academic context of the institution. That when we first started with SEM, we thought that if we could just reorganize the traditional functional areas and get them to work better in the same sandbox and play better, that we would solve all of this. But what we learned was how important it is to connect outside of the normal enrollment silos and into the faculty and into the senior academic leadership and so forth. So some of the things that we'll talk about here, while many of those people may not be present in the certificate itself, we're going to talk about how to link with them, how to support their efforts, and how to bring them into enrollment management on your campuses.
Thank you, Tamara and Clayton, and I echo. I hope I pronounced the word your name properly, Basil. What a great perspective of SEM and becoming scholars. That is very exciting. And I agree with you. Like, breaking silos is one of the biggest challenges, but a great opportunity when you are working in a post-secondary institution to come together and work closely to succeed as an organization. Now I'm even getting excited about this graduate certificate. I might even consider myself applying. So thank you, Tamara and Clayton, for this opportunity. So there was another question in the chat that I know Lisa answered, but I just wanted to share with everybody that is in this call. Are all the programs listed in the slide offered fully online? I will pass to you, Tamara.
Sure. So the bulk of the courses are all of the graduate certificate courses for the Business Development and International Education, Systems Leadership, and Strategic Enrollment Management are in fact all offered online. And the Masters of Arts and Graduate Diploma each begin with 2 courses that have an on-campus component, a 2-week on-campus component at the beginning stages of their program. And then the Masters has, the very last course has an on-campus, 3-day on-campus component. That one is optional. You still participate in the event, but you don't necessarily have to be here on campus, given that it's only 3 days. But the 2-week on-campus residency that is part of the master's and graduate programs are mandatory on campus. And it's a way to bring your cohort that you're going to be with for the next year or 2 years together. And it's, you know, it makes up the blended part of our description of the program as blended, the rest then being online.
Tamara, I'm going to add a little bit to that, and that is that in the courses that we've designed them to be both synchronous and asynchronous.
Yes.
Synchronous means that a portion of the classes, typically at least 2 of the classes in each term, will be done just like this, live, in person, interactive, all of those things. And then others will be done asynchronously, because we know that enrollment people have, you know, lots of things going on in their lives, so it's hard to kind of make everything that way. So both of those will be present here. And how much of each? Well, the first set of courses is designed as it is, but I suspect it changes in the future. So
I also want to note that at this point, just based on the circumstances, all the programs are fully offered online for this year. But as things evolve and maybe more of us get vaccinated, and then the province or the federal government give us the green light, people will be coming to campus.
Yes, thanks. Thank you, Andrea, because that applies for the 2021 intake for the master's and graduate program. Those 2 residencies that would have typically been on campus in July are delivered virtually for this year.
Thank you. So if you have any other questions or comments, please keep typing them on the chat box. I'm going to move to the next slide that is about the application process. But if you have questions, please keep them coming. So at Royal Roads University, there is 2 options when you're applying. There's the standard admissions and the flexible admissions. However, when you're applying to Royal Roads, there is no box that you need to click for either or. The person that is assessing your application will decide you are coming through flexible or standard admissions. For standard admissions, are looking for 4 years or comparable undergrad degree from a recognized post-secondary institution. We are also looking for a minimum of 3 years of paid work experience within the higher education sector, including some leadership experience. For a flexible admissions, to be considered, applicants have a minimum of 7 years of work experience in the higher education sector, including a minimum of 3 years of the leadership experience. Tamara, would you like to expand a little more what that leadership experience are we looking for?
Sure. So ideally, you have had a minimum of 3 years leadership experience. It doesn't have to be at the most senior level, and it could also be while related to your higher education work. It may have been while you were a student, you know, if you were involved in the student union or residence life or something like that. The leadership piece, to be honest with you, when I'm asked this a great deal, I will have students that are quite keen in any one of the programs and have a substantial amount of higher education experience, but they don't necessarily haven't occupied those leadership positions. And as we say, the program has been designed for aspiring leaders as well. The leadership piece of the 2, higher education experience and leadership, the leadership piece will come in the program. So based on the application and the applicant's rationale for selecting the program and the alignment with the program with their professional goals, of the 2, the higher education experience has much more priority. And the reason being, you will enter into these courses and the assumption is made both in the way the content has been put together and in its delivery, that you have a working knowledge of how a university or a college, or things work within the higher education sector. And so to ensure that there's somewhat of an equitable starting point, that experience is essential. The leadership piece, while certainly valued and gives you a little bit more strength as an applicant, if you had substantial higher ed experience and limited leadership but aspired to be a leadership, I would still encourage you to apply.
Thank you, Tamara. That is very helpful. So now the most exciting piece, how to apply. So first you need to complete an online application. The cost of that application is $126.28 fee. And after that, you need to submit the following documents. The first ones are the official transcripts. So they have to be official. They used to come in a sealed envelope, and normally people used to request them from your post-secondary institution and then send them to Royal Roads. I have to say that through COVID, we have seen more organizations or post-secondary institutions sending directly to us. So just make sure that you know how the institution is forwarding that information, or if you have the option to send them directly to Royal Roads, then you can click check your first box. The next document is a personal statement. I always say that when I applied to Royal Roads, that was my favorite document, because it gave me an opportunity to just slow down in my life and ask, why was my motivation? Why do I really want to apply to this program? How this program is going to help me to advance in my personal and professional career? But also what I'm bringing into the cohort, like what I'm going to be helping other people to navigate, what I'm going to be teaching and sharing with others. So basically we want to know about your motivation and also what expertise are you bringing into the program. And if you go to our website and you go to the application requirements, you will find a little more of the specifications that we're looking for that personal statement. The next one is a structured resume. Basically, this is also an opportunity for you to tell us about your career path. So we want you to learn about your education. We also want to learn about your work experience. In the work experience, it's very important that you give us the time that you were in each of the roles, but also what responsibilities you have in each of those roles. There is also an opportunity for you to highlight your leadership experience through the different roles that you had in the post-secondary education. We also want to learn about your volunteer experience, if you are part of any affiliation or organization. So normally, I know when we talk about resumes, we are thinking about applying to a job and we're expected to get 2 pages. However, for this resume, if you need 2, 3, or 4 pages, please take the space to share your story and tell us about your career path. And the last document, I've said the last 2 documents are 2 letters of reference. They can be one academic and one professional. However, if you have been out of the school for a long time, we can accept 2 professional letters. I always recommend to people, if you feel comfortable, please share your personal statement with those that are writing those letters so they have a better understanding why you're applying. And maybe they can highlight a project or specific experience that you had in the past with you, or you are currently working with them. So that is just a recommendation. You don't have to share your personal statement, but it will give a background of people of the why you're applying to this program, and they can help you to elevate your application. Tamara, anything else that you would like to add about the personal statement, or maybe things that you're looking into when you are assessing applicants? Any tips for people that are on the call today?
Sure. I think you covered it very well, Andrea. The one thing that came to mind while I was listening, it's very important that you're able to articulate for us how the completion of this program aligns with your personal and professional goals. So, sometimes there are instances as I'm reading through those where for whatever reason, there's been a misunderstanding of exactly what the program is designed to do and the person's professional goals. So we'll often reach out to make sure that you understand exactly what this program is about, so that the alignment is in sync and you don't end up inadvertently being admitted into a program that you thought was going to take you down, lane A, and is actually designed to go down lane B. So making sure that you help us understand how the participation in and completion of the program aligns with your personal and professional goals.
Thank you, Tamara. And actually, Lisa also shared on the chat box that a personal reference letter can also be accepted in lieu of an academic reference. So just, those two letters of reference can be one professional and one academic, or one professional and one personal, or two professionals. So there is a few options available for you. Upcoming intakes. So our next intake is August 16, 2021. The deadline for this program will be May 16. And then the following year in 2022, our program once again will start in August 15, and that deadline will be May 15, 2022. So I highly recommend you can always start your application as soon as possible and then working towards the goal of the deadline. At Royal Roads, we have rolling admissions. So that means once you complete your application, it will be assessed by the admissions team, and you will let know in between around 6 weeks, you will find out if you have been accepted into this program or not. Financial aid. This is something that we always get a lot of questions, and people are always curious about what options are available for you. So if you have more questions about financial aid, I highly recommend and encourage you to visit our website or reach out to our advisors directly to the phone number. They will be available to let you know what maybe loans, awards, research scholarships, or other fundings will be available for you based on the program that you're applying, maybe the province that you are located. They might be different options available. So I highly recommend reach out so we can help you to navigate what financial aid will look for you. They also have a very helpful blog on our website, so you might be able to find a lot of the answers to your questions in that blog. And if you have any questions about your application, what is next for you, so we have an enrollment team. We have one specifically for Canadians that are permanent residents, Canadian citizens. So they have the enrollment advisors. You already met Lisa on the chat, so you can reach out directly to Lisa or her team and learn that more at royalroads.ca. And if you are an international student, we also have a team that is willing and looking forward to support you, so you can reach out them by email or by phone as well. So this is kind of the last slide, but Tamara and Clayton, anything else that you would like to add or share with the people that are joining us today in this session?
I have one question for you, Tamara. What if someone is out there and they just want to take a course and they're not ready to do the full certificate? Is that something that they can consider?
It absolutely is. And that information is on our website, and it's classified under, I believe it's called General Studies. So you are able, there are a number of the whole and the Heal suite of courses that you're able to take as a general elective. And right now, both 580 and 585 qualify for that as well.
Yeah, I would just highly encourage you not to be thinking about taking the SEM planning course until you've had the other one.
Yes.
Because they are, one just assumes the knowledge that you would have acquired at that level. So if you did want to just sort of just sample and take, let's call it the fundamentals course, then that would probably be something that might make sense for you. I don't know. But if you are thinking about the SEM planning one, certainly be planning to take both of them.
Thank you, Clayton. That is a great question. So yeah, general studies will be a way for you to be able to take some of the courses in advance, but there is also a method behind how the courses has been lined out in the graduate certificate for you to learn the most and get the most value of the graduate certificate. But if you have any questions about general studies, please reach out to Lisa and her team so she can share any links or any further information about how you can start through general studies. There was another question from Mikhail. Once again, my apologies if I don't pronounce your name properly. What happens when you don't have or you cannot access to your transcripts? So my colleague Lisa shared an answer with you, and I want to share with everybody just in case other people might be in similar circumstances. You will need to reach out to see if you can get a digital copy that we will accept at this time. But if you are in that circumstances, please feel free to, like, before you make a decision, reach out to us, and we will be happy to assist you and guide you through the application process questions. And then my colleague Lisa also shared about the schedule for payments for this program. So anything else, Tamara or Clayton, that you would like to add? Any other questions from our audience that you would like to learn more, or any comments? This would be a great time to type them. Well, I don't see any other questions in the chat. Oh, there was a question about where can we see the textbooks readings list for these 3 courses?
The textbooks lists are not something that we publish. Again, that has to do with keeping the content current, and certainly not wanting ever to have a student anticipate that a particular textbook or resource is going to be used and then it doesn't. If you have specific questions about the text and things like that, by all means, you can email me or Clayton directly, and we're most happy to give you some information on what's anticipated around that. But we do not put that out publicly.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great example. I mean, as it turns out, I'm doing some research as we speak on what's the state of SEM in Canada. And that's not yet out there, but it will be out there for this class. So it's hard to keep it all up to date.
Thank you, Tamara and Clayton, for joining us today. And thank you. Oh, I just see another question as I was ready to say, thank everybody. Is this a limited entry program, or number of seats isn't limited?
Technically, we strive to keep a cap on our courses around 40. And that has to do with ensuring the quality of the learning experience. That hasn't been an issue yet. So, until it's an issue, I don't have a whole lot to say about that. So it shouldn't be a reason not to apply.
Thank you, Tamara. So I want to thank everybody for, if you are in the West, spending the lunch hour with us. If you are in another areas of Canada, for spending your afternoon with us. So thank you so much for your time. If you have any questions, my colleague Lisa has shared some of the insights of her email. So you can reach out to Lisa at lisa.murray@royalroads.ca, or you can reach out to her team at learn.more@royalroads.ca. Thank you, Tamara. Thank you, Clayton. Thank you, everyone, for being here with us today.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Have a great day.